For those of us who don't know you, I want to talk about your backstory a little bit. Take us all the way back. Tell us where you were born and some of the early days of Hao Lam.
Well, how much time do we have? You have 3 days and 3 nights?
We got a lot of time.
Kidding. I was born in Vietnam. My dad is from China. So when he was 14 years old, he left China. So I was born during the wartime. At the age of 7, my father disappeared. Thought he was dead. He was in the military, working alongside the U.S. troop. And a year later, when I was playing on the street, someone called me and said, "Your dad is home." I said, "Dad is home?" I thought he was dead. So I came home. He was pretty chubby in the military. And then he was about half of his size, probably about 100, 110 pounds. Couldn't even recognize him. And he was captured. He told us that he was shot in the leg, bullet went through, lay down, and then they put in the re-educational camp, try to brainwash him and all that. So the communists actually captured him. But we didn't hear from him. Thought he was dead. But the first thing he told me, Scott, was that I was 8 years old then. It was back in the mid-70s. He said, "Son, you need to leave the country. This is not the place for you to grow up." Imagine, you have kids, right? How old are they?
11 and 15.
8 years old, leave the country, right? Your kid can't even go to San Francisco from LA, right?
Right.
Like, what is that supposed to mean, Dad? For the next 11 years, I basically didn't do anything but trying to escape. My parents arranged trips after trips after trips. I quit school. I didn't go to school. I mean, ironically, today, I run a tutoring center. But I grew up illiterate. I'm Chinese, so we spoke Cantonese at home. My mom had a Chinese tutor came to our house, and a math tutor came to our house once a week for an hour. That was basically my formal education, an hour of Chinese and an hour of math. I can read Chinese, maybe 70-80%, but I couldn't write Chinese. So I couldn't read and write Vietnamese. So my formal education was reading, learning a little bit of Chinese, learning a little bit of math. Long story short, 11 years later, when I was 19, right, there were so many things happening in between. So many failed attempts. I was shot at, I was caught, I was in jail, I was running. It was just so many near-death experience. But I finally made it to the Philippine refugee camp when I was 19. So I lived in Palawan for a year, where I learned my first written language, and that's English. So I learned English when I was 19 years old.